Hey everybody, Tony Babarino here again. We have our guest back, Cory Monroe from NuWave Construction. Why? Why? Because he's full of good information. Good guy, great interview last time. And today it's a shorter interview, very focused. Today we're talking about 5 questions, not the only questions, but 5 questions you might want to add to your list of questions when you're talking to a contractor, maybe multiple contractors, and you're trying to decide who to hire for the work on your house. Well, you may want to consider adding Cory's 5 questions. He gets asked those questions sometimes, and sometimes no one asks him, he'll offer it because that's just an example of how good of a guy he is. No one's perfect, but Cory, in my opinion, does a lot of things right, which is why we love having him on the show. He's a down-to-earth guy. You can hear the honesty in his voice, and we're hoping that when we're done with the interview, whoever you hire, we would ask that you add these 5 questions on top of your questions so you can make the best possible decision who to hire. In worst case scenario, hire Cory. I mean, he's always here for you. And a full-time professional, we love him. I think you're going to love him. So let's go ahead and bring Cory in right now. And there he is. Hey, man.
Hey, Tony. How's it going?
Very well, thank you. Welcome back. So, Cory, I hear you have these 5 super secret juicy questions you want to share with people that for some reason, if they don't hire you, maybe you're in Italy on a 9-month vacation, they got to hire somebody else. It happens, right? Maybe you're in the Antarctic and you're on a bobsled with dogs and you can't be reached, and they go, I gotta find another contractor. So they should interview. But you had 5 questions that I didn't know that I thought, I bet other people like to know this. Now, they may or may not agree with you. That's the freedom of choice. But at least if we can share this free information in this short interview, I think it might benefit people. Again, it's not the only 5 questions, but it's 5 to add to other questions. And, maybe what Cory says makes you think of other questions that you want to ask that are new for you. And that's why we're here to do this. I'm Tony Babarino. I'm just a real estate agent in Orange County, and I'm just doing these kind of podcasts to help you guys out. So, Cory, take a moment, just in case people didn't catch your other interview. Can you take a moment to talk a little bit about you and your company so they understand who you are right before we get into the questions?
Yeah, thank you, Tony. So my name is Cory with NuWave Construction. My office is here in Costa Mesa, and started my company in 97, actually a little bit before that, but got my license in 97 and started out in Rancho Cucamonga and migrated back down to the beach in Costa Mesa. And now I've expanded my business down into Oceanside, Carlsbad. That's pretty much my cutoff right now. And so we pretty much work with residential and commercial remodels. And that's pretty much it. We do pretty much everything from dirt to doorknobs and all this stuff in between. And if we don't do it, we can get you somebody who can.
Wow, dirt to doorknobs. I love that line. That pretty much covers I think everything. I think.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if somebody needs to build a commercial building, is that also part of your repertoire of things you do, commercial buildings as well?
Yeah. Thanks for mentioning that. Yeah, so we do commercial buildings as well. We call them tenant improvements. So if you are looking to get your business started in a strip mall center and you need to do a build out, we can do everything from the design all the way through the build. We have a team of engineers and architects and interior designers that help make the whole thing come to life on paper, and then we will come through and bid that project based on the plans and then move forward from there. So,
wow. So, in other words, God forbid, if there's happens to be some part that you don't normally do, you have enough of a network to bring people in as trusted professionals to satisfy the client.
Correct.
Okay. So you're the Swiss Army knife of construction, gold plated.
I haven't heard that one. I like that.
I'll send you my invoice for that tagline. The gold-plated Swiss Army knife of construction.
Love it.
Registered trademark. Okay, guys. What I want to do now is I'm going to pull up a question, and again, these are Cory's. I'm sure there's going to be somebody in Nevada or Florida that might think of some good ones too. But right now, we have somebody local. So if you're in Orange County and you want to call a contractor, I hope by the end of this interview, at least you can give Cory a call and talk to him. You know what?
Yeah,
People call me.
absolutely.
Yeah, call around. I mean, a shopper has the right to shop, and we like to put ourselves out there, and that's why we want to give value to show you guys we really care. I care. Cory cares. You know, I'm for everyone, but I'm not for everyone. No one person satisfies everybody. So that's why we're happy to talk and share and let you guys get to know us. So Cory, question number one. Of the 5 questions, you the contractors hope you don't ask, because by asking it, there's always, I would imagine, there's a concern that they may not have an answer, or they know of these questions and hope you don't ask because they may have to fumble through it, God forbid. So here's number one. Do you have a contractor's license, a bond, or general liability insurance, or workers' comp? Why? Again, I know there's a lot of good contractors out there. We're talking about the few that are a little questionable. But if you ask someone this question, what's an answer? One of many possibilities, folks. We're not giving you 100% here. Cory, elaborate on this question, on the pros and cons of this question, and why it's valuable to ask.
So it's a pretty simple question, Tony, but it's also a common sense basic question you should be asking. A lot of times you meet somebody and maybe you're overwhelmed by their personality and they come across as somebody right out of the gate that you don't even verify. You don't even think to ask because they're coming across as a good salesman. And so my biggest thing is just make sure that you ask the questions and then verify the questions. Because you want to make sure that they're telling the truth, and maybe you don't know this contractor as much as he doesn't know you. So you need to really ask and then verify. So the first thing is, do you have a contractor's license? And a lot of people out there will say, yeah, I do. And then they leave it at that. But when it comes down to the nuts and bolts of it, you look on the CSLB website. So you go to cslb.ca.gov. And then right on their website, it's very interactive. So as a consumer, you click on the consumer link and then you type in that contractor first and last name or their business name, and it'll pull up who they are, where their address is, if they have workman's comp, if they have, it won't show the general liability insurance, but it will show the bond. So in Southern California, you have to have a valid contractor's license. And then with the license, you have to have a bond. So in order to get your license, you got to have an active bond. And the bond will be verified online. So you can check that yourself. It won't, like I said, it won't show general liability. You want to make sure that your contractor has general liability insurance as well, since they're going to be at your place working on it. The other thing is workman's comp. Ask them, do you have any employees? And they'll either tell you yes or no, and then you'll be able to look on their website and see if they have employees. Well, then they're going to have work comp. So, and it'll show on that website. Another thing that you can do is, well, we can get into that later, but once you engage in work, then you are going to initiate a additional insured endorsement, meaning that if you're going to be doing work on their house, the client should say, hey, can you put down my name as an additional insured on your insurance and your work comp, so that if there's ever a lapse in coverage during the project, you'll get a notification immediately. And so you can find out what's going on with that before you make too many more payments. So that's pretty much it on the first question. You know, there's a lot of good people out there that don't have licenses. You know, I mean, I'm looking back at myself. Everybody has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And everybody that I know of, including myself, that came in and started a company, you start out working for somebody, and then you lateral over and you start to get your own business going, but you need to get the capital going. And so you find yourself working for, you know, realtors, doing little handyman stuff under the radar. Sometimes they give you a little handyman place and you can do projects that are 500 and below. And then you start getting some capital, and then you get your contractor's license and you start getting above ground. Now, a lot of contractors just hold the bare minimum, kind of like your auto insurance. Most people just have enough to barely cover in the event of an emergency.
The minimum.
Yeah, the bare minimum. And the work comp, or I'm sorry, the general liability is pretty much self-explanatory. Once you look at it, you can see where they're covered and where they're not.
We're trying to take the risk off the customer wants to try to minimize or remove the risk to them. If somebody gets hurt on the job, that's probably not the time to find out that the owner's covered.
Yeah.
Because the last thing you want is someone to fall off a ladder and they're an employee off the books. He doesn't have insurance or barely enough, the owner. And then there's going to be like a whole bunch of lawsuits. Whereas if
it happens.
Yeah, it does. We're not saying anything people are surprised about, but that's why we would ask the questions. And I would step in and go so far as to say, after asking these questions, if the person's professional, they should write it in an email that I asked you this, you said that, agree or disagree, so that they respond point by point, agree, 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 agree. Now you got it proven. Because if you have a job, a $45,000 job, and I talked to 7 contractors, and if I asked only these 5 questions and said, great, I'm going to itemize what we talked about in email. I need you to agree or disagree with each question, that you answered this, you said this, because you would want to demonstrate trust. I would. I go, sure. Because if you're not lying, you go, yeah, send it over. Yes, I have a contractor's license. Here's the number. Yes, I'm bonded. Here's the link. You can prove it. General liability? Sure, I do. I'm going to add you on, and I'm going to email the PDF over to you. And here's my proof of workers' comp. Matter of fact, if the more contractors out there that are asked these questions, they should fire off the answers like this and the proof. I would imagine in any business with these kind of questions, if somebody asks me and I kind of fumble through it, even though I'm telling the truth, one should be well prepared. Yes, here's everything we need, so that the person who has that $100,000 job for you can say, oh, wow, all right, good. He's been through this before. He knows. So I think there's an reasonably implied level of initial comfort in considering who to hire. Because man, if you, I have insurance. Wait, what do you mean? You or the company? And that's where you start to think, if you're wise, maybe I got to call the other 7 guys. Or you. And folks,
hey,
if this is a commercial, yes. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
The biggest thing is your gut feeling. At the end of the day, when you don't listen to your gut feeling and you're interviewing contractors and you go against your gut 9 out of 10 times, maybe 10 out of 10 times, there's always
Vegas odds, baby,
because repercussions to be had. A couple things, or one of the other things I want to point on is there are a lot of people that say they have a license and they work under somebody else's license.
Ooh.
And this
so
is
if huge. I had a license, if I was a licensed contractor and you weren't, and I bring you in, or you do the job and I just say, yeah, use my license number, that sounds not right.
That's not correct. Yeah, you're exactly right. You're not allowed to do that. I know of people currently doing that right now. I don't associate myself with them, but I do know of it. The biggest thing is they get kickbacks. So guys, maybe it's an old timer that's got a license and he's not really working, but he lets somebody go out and sell some jobs and he gets a piece of the pie. He's like, all right, I want 10% of your stuff for the year, and they do that all the time. That's where it comes back to verifying. So when someone says they're licensed and you look on the CSLB website, you should see their name. There's some attachment in there, because at the very bottom, you're going to see there's this personnel list at the very bottom of the CSLB site. When you find out that contractor's page, it shows it's basically a license page. It shows everything about them, that portfolio. And at the bottom, it'll tell you the personnel list, and you can see everybody that's listed as a treasurer, whatever the case is, it's all on there.
Understood. So let's go to the that next question, because I want to make sure we can cover this for people, because it's really important we get these out. Number 2. So, Mr. Contractor, do you have any referrals from recent past clients? And I would imagine this question, I can see how some people could be a little shy, because they have the big shiny van, they got the big shiny tools, they got a team of 12 guys, and it's almost easy to see, oh, if I ask them, I don't want to offend the guy, but one should not be offended. When I go on listing appointments to compete, I'm sure a lot of people don't do this. In my dialogue, I say, I have the last 7 people that gave me permission already to give out their name, phone number, email, whatever you need. Would you like to call them now as a reference? And 99% of the time, the person who wants to sell the house goes, oh, no, we're good. And I'm like, no one's ever offered that. And if you were asked, so you would want to be ready. So with referrals, my perspective is, if it's my money and I'm the customer and I'm talking to you, I should never be shy to ask questions, and especially this question. So Cory, you got referrals from past clients? Because I'm going to call them, and I would like the last 3, or I want the last 2 people that you did a patio for. Did you do 2 patios in the last 12 months, 3 years? I'm going to call them. And can I call them right now? Because if you're proud and you do a good job, I would think you go, sure, here's their number.
Absolutely.
Let's call them right now. Beep.
There you
Yeah,
go.
hi, Johnny. I'm here with Cory, the contractor. He said I can call you as a reference. Oh, that guy's fantastic. And that's a great way to compete, I think. Well, one of many ways. So can you elaborate yourself, because you're the pro? Do you have any referrals from recent past clients? Why is this important? What's your feelings about it? What's behind this question that a customer needs to be aware of, especially when there's an issue, like they don't have them or don't want to give them?
So that can go 2 ways. Have you ever met somebody that you've asked for referrals and they've given you a couple of their last bad clients that they dealt with that maybe don't have great feedback on you? So a lot of people don't and won't offer that. I do let them know. I have a couple clients too that weren't happy with us. If you like to call them, hey, I'm very transparent. We strive to hit a home run on every deal. Sometimes we just get to third base, but at the end of the day, we finish everything. Whether I'm losing money or not on the project, I'm always going to finish, even if it has to come out of my pocket to make sure that, because there's times in the past I've bid projects wrong, and it cost me a little bit of money. But
so you're human?
To answer your
You're
question,
human?
believe that, yeah, right.
Mrs. Smith, I got a couple of clients who hate me. Would you like to call them too? But when you call them, ask if I honored the contract. They might hate the way I look. They might hate the speed in which I worked. I was too long or something. But do ask them if I finished. I would imagine there's probably an expectation in that case.
Yeah. Just recently, I had one of my last projects. It was their first remodel they've ever done. They've never done a remodel. It's their last remodel. It'll be probably my last customer with them because they don't have any more projects. Well, they may have a couple of pop up, but a great husband and wife. The thing is that there's a lot of things that come up in remodels along the way, financially, that pop up, things that you didn't see. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to be the one living in their house. They're going to be the one living in their house. And so sometimes people don't understand the extra money that comes out during a remodel, and they think it's, my fault. But at the end of the day, I don't have X-ray vision. I don't have X-ray vision. I try to do the best I can with education, and I'm doing this for years, and that's the best I can do. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing, you just want to ask for some references. You want to be able to find out recent 3 jobs that are pertinent to, if it's pertinent to their job, if it's the same, like if it's a bathroom remodel or a patio cover, like you said, try to find those type of projects to get referrals from, and call them up, and find out, get your own feedback. And then at the end of the day, it comes back to your gut feeling.
Especially after
you got to have that gut feeling. Yeah, exactly.
I won't say who, when, and where, but what I'm about to say is true. I know someone, not me, where they had a bid for work on a house. The entire project was quoted at $600,000. Okay. 12 months later, I check in with this situation. I say, I'm curious. It's been a year. How's that addition going? You enjoying it? Well, no. We decided while they're there ripping up the house, we wanted to add a few more things. Now it's $850,000. Oh, okay. Well, 12 months in. 6 more months later, hey, all done? I wouldn't mind coming to see it just for fun because I saw the house before. Well, now we're at $1.1 million because there are things that the contractor discovered that needed to be done, which nobody knew.
Mhm.
And of course, part of the education up front should be is, when we do these jobs, if something comes up that's important that we have to do, structural integrity, wiring, plumbing, something, it's cheaper for us to do it while we're there instead of ripping the walls up later. And I think
Absolutely.
sometimes people don't have that conversation. And if they don't, and then they discover it, and the contractor goes, haha, we found some more things. What are they going to say? No. And the customer goes, oh, geez. So, referrals, if you were to tell clients, listen, we dig up your kitchen, for example, and we find issues that need to be resolved for safety or performance or something that's going to be a betterment, would you like me to tell you? Because it will cost money, but it should be cheaper than us coming back someday in the future. So if something
Absolutely.
comes up, you could say, would you like us to do this? No, well, your gas pipes are looking kind of unsafe. So if you don't want to do it, I'm going to take pictures and video. I'll need you to sign off on it that I told you the gas pipes look bad, that you don't want someone to come look at them, and you don't want to pay for it, and go ahead and finish the job. Sign here.
Yeah.
Oh, well, how much is it? Well, it's $10,000. And if we have to come back in 6 months, it'll probably be $35,000. But so if you let them know that it's possible and we're not trying to trap you, so if something's there, it's legitimate. Oh, would you like to
Yeah.
move an extra wall over here? No, I don't need it. Okay, fair enough. Just wanted to check in with you. So they don't
Yeah.
surprise. And referrals would be, I think, a very strong backbone.
Yeah.
Cory did explain there could be 56 different things that pop up. Maybe many of them are safety considerations, and it would be cheaper if he's already there, but my wall's already open to do it, instead of paying twice effectively. And I think if you
Yeah.
had 5 customers that all said, he did tell us, he didn't hide it, he didn't go surprise. He was like, no, let me let you know up front. And here's
Yeah.
why I want to let you know. I'm not trying to make more money from you.
Yeah.
It's just an option. And if you have 5 people that sing that song, I would feel like,
It's consistent.
wow, yeah, it's a consistent particular topic of trustworthiness. There's many
Yeah.
factors, but it's nice that they go, yeah, he did tell us. We said, no, we don't need that. When someone then go, well, you know what? I said, that's a good idea. He did save me money. Who knew? I'd rather pay
Yeah.
10 grand more than 35,000 more. Wow. Whatever he says, go with them. Oh, thank you. Click.
Yeah. I'll give you an
So,
example. The other day we're doing a room addition right now, and foundation on the foundation plan basically just shows what the foundation is going to look like, but it doesn't show elevations of the backyard. So this new design calls for a jacuzzi in between 2 room additions. So, and it's a sunk down in-ground step down seating area. Well, that's a low point. So in the event of a flood, water can back up. Well, with experience and sitting out there doing the project, sometimes you don't have time to get a change order signed on a job. You just got to make an executive decision and just give the client a fair bill when they're done. In the event there's a major rainstorm and the sump pump's going to fail in the backyard, how are you going to get the water out of there without flooding their house? So we made a quick call to put a pipe in underneath the foundation as a secondary. Once the water gets to a certain point, it flows through the foundation, through a pipe out the other side and back out to the street as a precaution. So the homeowners at work, I'm not going to sit there and wait for their answer, because at the end of the day, the only answer is it's going in. That's just what's going to happen. And I'm going to give them a bill for the pipe and just a little bit of time to dig it out, which is fair. I'm not looking to capitalize on an opportunity like that.
Right is right.
Yeah, it just has to be done. So, but yeah, referrals. So those are great points. Another point with your referral is asking them, where was your project on budget? Did they, they gave an estimate? How far, where did it finish off at? Was it above or below?
And the
9 out
customer
of
will
10
tell you,
times,
they will tell you the truth. That
it's
darn
over.
Cory, it went over
It's
10
over.
grand. But
Every time.
they could say though, it was over, but I'm glad he told me, because he told me there might be things. And that pipe that he put in, all it takes is one good rainstorm. And Cory, and obviously I'm not going to say no to that, but he did tell me, and it wasn't like, hey, would you like a gold-plated pipe? It was, look, I had to put this pipe in. Here's what it really cost. I just charge a little bit for labor because, Mr. Customer, I can't imagine you saying no, because if you said no, I probably would politely argue
I would
in
have
terms of
just done it.
safety. Yeah, safety. You say, look, you just do it. Because the conversation
Yeah.
after the fact, it's like, no, I don't care about my house being flooded. I'm like, what?
I
Like,
would have eaten the cost to know that I'm going to make sure it's done right for them. And at the end of the day, if they don't pay it, they're going to pay it in something else down the road. I'm just gonna, if they decided
maybe a
not to pay it,
referral,
I'm gonna,
another job.
well, yeah, maybe that, maybe I'll just bump it into a change order or something. One of the ways it's going to get covered, at least my cost.
Yeah, it's tough to do things right sometimes, and fortunately, with experience, we tend to make less errors that we have to eat.
Yeah,
I'm not infallible.
exactly.
I do what I can do, but if I see something was missed in a deal, and if there's a way I could adjust or compensate somehow,
Yeah,
I really do what I have to do, because instead of trying to make every dime, sometimes, or I should, let me correct myself. It's always right to do right, and sometimes it costs us, but we balance that out with making an income most of the time, and sometimes we take a loss because you can't hit a home run every time.
no,
If you hit a
no.
home run every time on every job in your business of construction, you would own California.
Every single project to date has never ever been on budget. One, because everybody adds things. I've yet to do a job where they didn't add a bunch of stuff. Yeah, it's just that's how it works, because
Yeah,
everything in remodels is just unforeseen things pop up.
unforeseen thing. All right, next question. Number
Yep.
3, in your estimate, can you provide a detailed, comprehensive scope of work? Elaborate on that question. Why it is important.
So, two things. As a general contractor, a lot of times I get people that call me up and say, "Hey, Cory, I want to do this room addition, but I don't want to pay an architect yet. I don't want to pay for all these things. Can you give me an estimate on this project?" Um, Basically, I call that a guesstimate, because it's really guessing based on experience. So in my sake, it's really not uh, complete guess, because I already know, okay, if I go out there and I measure square footage, I can, break it down to a science. But at the end of the day, when I'm coming up with budget numbers for somebody and we haven't engaged in an architect, they haven't paid permits, they haven't done engineering on the project, they're just trying to put their feelers out to find out if they want to do this and what is this going to cost. So what I do is I either do a video job walk with them, or I go there to their property and take a look, and I walk it over and find out what it is they want to do. And then based on experience, so if they want to add, say 500 square feet to their house and it's doesn't include a bathroom or kitchen, it's just a room, that would be a different price than adding a bathroom, because bathrooms and kitchens bump it up quite a bit. Single story as well versus 2-story. So based on experience, I'll throw out a number. Everybody wants to throw out a square foot price, but it's frustrating. It's hard to really come up with square foot numbers. But if I'm going to build a new house, I can say, okay, $250 to $300 a square foot. If we're down in Cameo Shores, people are building houses down there for $1,000 a square foot.
Wow.
Yeah, it's absurd. I could come in there and build some of the stuff for a little less, but they got a great reputation, some of those builders. Good for them. They've done it for years and they've done a great job. As far as getting a estimate and a comprehensive estimate, I typically don't want to invest a lot of time into it in the beginning, because it's a catch-22. So if I feel this client is going to want to do it, or they're just a window shopper, if they're just a window shopper, I'm not going to give them a comprehensive quote. I'm just going to give them a ballpark, shoot from the hip type of deal. And then when they get their plans, and then when they get a little more details about it, then I can give them a more accurate quote, so I can compare apples and apples to other people, so they can as well.
You can't
But
chase
for
everything
me,
around all the time. You have to know when to deal with people that are sincere.
yeah,
Just like in my business, there's
and that's
people that want
taken
to go see
years.
houses, right? Especially agents
Yeah,
who are young and new. They'll drive everywhere and they don't buy
everywhere.
anything They don't even have, and like, why are you just looking at houses? You don't have your loan yet, proof
Yeah,
of funds, loan letter, make sure you're fully
on
qualified
point.
so you can buy the home. And then we go shop. And, even in the beginning, I didn't think it through many years ago. And people doing this for 40 years are the experts on that topic of, we have to get you qualified. Show me you have the money. Well, what do you
Yeah.
mean? People who have the money go, sure, here you go. Just like you.
Yep.
If I need to hire you, Cory, and it's a $300,000 job, I, knowing something of the business, will say, hey, Cory, I know this job's going to be a lot of money. Just to show you you're not wasting my time, I'm not wasting yours. I actually have the funds. I have the credit. Will you give me a real detailed estimate? I call two other people. I'll even tell you what they said. And then if they bid lower than you can always say, well, they might have left this out, maybe. And here's things
And
I can do. Like you said one time, I love what you said. You're not the most expensive. You're not the cheapest. You're right in the middle, but you do good work and you get it done.
correct. Another big thing is um, the comprehensive quote. Sometimes people want a comprehensive quote
Mhm.
and I don't know if they're going to go with me. So what I'll tell them is, look, I'll spend my time, because for me if somebody gives me a set of plans to bid a job, it's minimum 8 hours of my time to give them an estimate. Minimum. I
Eight
have a
hours.
commercial job, eight minimum. So that's one
Wow.
day out of my life I'm never getting back. And I don't
Mm.
even know if they're going to use me. And I've never met this person, but this is the first time I'm coming to meet them, and I'm going to invest 8 hours of my day. Would they do that for me? Probably not.
Ooh.
Probably not. So I have to really analyze this person and make sure that, psychologically, are they going to be fit for me to work with them? So I'm evaluating a lot of things when I give a quote, and especially somebody who wants a detailed, comprehensive quote. I love the fact when somebody comes to me and says, hey, Cory, I got this room addition I want to do. I already got the plans. I already got it approved through the city, and I need a quote. I'm on that one, and I will give them a detailed bid right out of the gate, because I know they're already invested. They're invested
Nice.
in this, and they're going to do it. Now, there's times where people have gotten the quotes and had the plans and decided, you know what, I'm pulling the plug on this deal. We're not going to do the remodel. It's came in more than what we anticipated, or we're going to scale back and redraft the plans a little.
Sounds like somebody who's, I guess I don't want to say a dream client. All clients are dreams because you're people, but a well-prepared dream client where they have all this stuff up front and they say, hey, here's what I have. So you're right. In many businesses that require labor and service, we're not selling apps where you can just
Mm-hmm.
sell it in your sleep,
Yeah.
or online product where they call it Swiss money, sales while I sleep soundly, Swiss. We don't
Yeah.
have that. We have to actually consume time to do things for the success and happiness of the client. And in
Correct.
construction, that's a big bear of a big giant pile of work. In agents, we have our
Yeah.
own level of work, but I would not even dare to compare what you have to do versus what I have to do. It's apples and oranges, but you have a much bigger orange, a
Yeah.
bigger piece of fruit.
I have to grab these plans and go through every little detail,
Oh,
and every little thing, and get rulers and out and measure and come up with
oof.
footages. It's a lot of work.
Homework. It's
So
homework.
oh gosh, yeah, I already got enough of that. I got kids at the house. Um,
Whoops.
and we have to, now we're teachers
Oh gosh.
with COVID, right?
Yeah. Let's get to that next one.
Yep.
What is your experience in this project or this kind of project? Why is that important? And what kind of answers would you want to hear?
So experience, and that'll go back to asking for referrals, and they may be able to vouch for that client or that contractor and their experience and knowledge on the job. And that's a great question to ask in the referral is, was your contractor knowledgeable? When you had questions, were they knowledgeable in answering your questions? And that'll come back to verifying experience for yourself. Looking at pictures as well, and looking at the past projects that they've done.
Oh,
It's going to
before
be
and
completely
after.
hard to verify their personal experience, because
Mhm.
so myself, just a quick little take on myself. I've actually worked in most of each trade, so I've learned how to do each trade along the way. And so I'm knowledgeable in the fact that of each trade. So when maybe I get into a situation on a project where a sub is trying to charge me too much because he says that he needs to do X, Y, Z. And I say, look, no, we're not going to do it that way. We're going to do it this way. And this is how we're going to save the client some money. So having experience in each trade allows me to navigate that better. But it's gonna be hard completely to verify complete experience. But for myself, running a company, it's hard for me to be out there doing the work. I really would like to just be out doing the work.
Nice. Okay. So then, Cory, quick question.
You know,
When it comes to the experience, we lost your signal for 5 seconds. With the experience, I would imagine there's no real ruler in which to measure how much is enough or too little or relevant, not relevant. Because if I didn't know how to remodel a bathroom and I talked to 7 different contractors with different types, maybe the same volume of experience, but I wouldn't really know how to pick it apart. Is there like maybe 1 or 2 examples that you could give us when asking people about their experience? Is there any 1 or 2 things? Again, we can't give everything in the answer, but are there 1 or 2 little golden nuggets, something that when someone says, oh yeah, I've done 14 bathroom remodels, are you looking for them elaborating in detail? Or maybe when they say I've done 7 different bathroom remodels, ask them this one question: were you on budget or over budget? Oh, we were all under budget. And that might be a red flag. I'm just making this up, but that's my point. Is there something to give the consumer a reasonable, barely reasonable, let's be honest, we don't really know, but a barely reasonable idea of, oh, I asked about his experience. He told me about 7 jobs and they sounded pretty good. So is there one thing I can ask about those jobs that can give me a clue that there's depth to the answer, not just breadth to the answer?
Yeah. So knowledge is key, obviously, in everything. And you know, I've never really thought of that answer until now, or that question until.
Well, that's because I'm here, Cory. I'm here to put you on the hot seat.
You know, it's good.
I'm going to slap you around.
I love it. I love it. It's good. I love it. It's good. So let me give you an example.
Okay.
Let's see here. You could actually look at your project that you're getting ready to do and come up with your questions and do a little research on your question that you plan to ask the contractor, and find out certain things. For instance, I'll give you an example. There's this thing called Cal Green, which is California Green Building Laws, and what that means is there's a flow rate. So toilets have to have, I think it's 1.2 gallons per flush. Your shower valves have to have GPM per shower valve. They have little restrictor plates up in the shower head. Another thing is you can't have multiple shower heads running in a shower at the same time on one single valve, where in the past people would want to do that. They want to have a couple shower valves going. They have a diverter valve so they can run this one and this one at the same time. Well, California has put a stop to that. And a matter of fact, when you go to buy your fixtures, when you get ready to purchase it, it'll say we can't ship to you. It's not California Green certified. So you could ask your contractor, hey, I want to put a shower valve here, and I want to put a shower head here and a shower head here, and I want to run them at the same time. A knowledgeable contractor would be able to tell you we can't.
Honestly,
do that.
right? To be honest, we really can't do that. Good point.
Or, well, you know, and that's one question you could ask to find out if they're knowledgeable, because people have asked me that, and I'll say, hey, yeah, you know, we're not allowed to do that, but you can put another shower head over, or shower valve over here, so you can have 5 shower valves and 5 shower heads going at the same time. They have to have a valve for each one, so you can plumb each one in, and you can get around that. That's one way. And then a lot of times I tell them, hey, once I'm gone, you can pull that shower head off and pull the little restrictor plate out on your own, but hey, you know, you're on.
I'm saying, you use the old prohibition advertisement where they say, don't buy this condensed brick of a product, because if you put it in your tub at a certain temperature of water, and if you let it sit for an hour, which you shouldn't do, then you wind up creating gin, and that's illegal. So in your case, you could say, you know, what you don't do is take that part out, and what you don't do is reconnect it here, because if you did that, then you would be doing something against what California says. And so don't tell me that, because I know you're not going to do it. So you just told me how to do it? No, I told you how not to do it. That don't do this, don't do that, because this happens. Good night, thank you for the check, and you walk out. So this way, if they're recording it on a phone, you say, Your Honor, I told them, don't do this, don't do. Well, you kind of basically told him how to build a bomb. No, I just said, don't, and he did it. So yeah, I mean, I'm being silly, but technically the customer really should follow your advice. Prohibition was a short-lived time too, by the
To
way.
answer your, yeah, to answer your question, hopefully I touch base on that as far as being able to come up with your own questions that you already know the law, or you know what the answer should be, and then you just verify by asking the question. And if they're knowledgeable, they should be able to ask the right answer.
Yeah, and folks
give you the right answer.
If you don't know what to ask beyond, like, well, how many showers have you put in? I've put in dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens. Okay, is there anything about a shower with the plumbing or something that I'm not really supposed to do? You could always ask like a generic question. How many kitchen sinks you put in? Thousands. Is there anything about a kitchen sink in terms of my choices and things I can and can't do? Because just like in sales or in certain levels of psychology, you go 3 questions deep, and you can ask innocent questions you don't even know the answer to. Oh, yeah, I want to put a kitchen in. Well, what are my options? Well, there's a farmer's sink, there's a porcelain sink, and there's stainless steel. There's one question. Oh, well, what's a farmer's sink exactly? Oh, and it's 3 inches lower in the front, so it's easier to put things in. And the drain is off to the corner instead of the center. Oh, so why is it special having a drain off to the corner in the center? Oh, because all the foam and soap goes into one area. When you put pots in there, instead of a center drain, it plugs it up. The water starts to rise. You got to pick it up. You got to move it, let the water drain. And if it's in the corner, that's very hard to happen. So it's an actual small luxury. So right there, just talking about sinks and going 3 levels deep, that kind of shows that you can come up with something of just general curiosity and see just if they give you some confidence in their answer, because they should have that. Like, I'm not a contractor and I know a few different sinks and why you want to drain off centered, but people might not know that. So you can always ask, well, is there any do's or don'ts about doing that? Is there anything that's against the law because I don't want to get in trouble? Is there something better than what I'm asking? Oh, I want this whatever the faucet is. Well, before you do that, is there anything better than what I'm asking? And what would the price be? And listen to the confidence. You touched on that earlier, is the confidence in how they talk. So again, folks, just do a little homework on Home Depot and online. Try to come up with some questions. So when you talk about your project and you ask about the experience, maybe there's 1, 2, or 3 questions on that topic you can pretend you didn't know and see how they answer it as part of a personality check. If they get defensive, I would be defensive too then. So people are people. Last question. So, Mr. Contractor, who will be doing the work actually, and who's the point of contact in this whole project? What's behind that question? Why is it a good question to ask, Cory?
Hey, Tony, I haven't been able to hear you, so I don't know if my volume is working on your end. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, and I'll just go into the question?
You're perfectly fine. Perfectly fine.
Okay, because I can't hear you at all. But the last question, who will be doing the work, and who's the point of contact? So who will be doing the work is a great question, and it's going to come back to the work comp question and question number 1. It's going to come back to, that's going to be a great time. So who will be doing the work? Clients ask me that all the time, and I think it's a great question. And I tell them, well, I won't be doing all the work. I have each particular person that is skilled in their trade that will be doing the work, some of which will be multitasking throughout the project. I personally will be here through every major decision making of a project. I'm a micromanager to some degree, which I think it frustrates my guys. But at the end of the day, when something fails, it's all coming back to me. So I need to be heavily involved in every project before any walls are closed up. I want to get a visual. I want to get pictures on everything. And I tell the client this, before we pour concrete, after we get done grading, or we do pour concrete before that. I'm going to go through every scenario in my head possible before we pour concrete to make sure that it's all done. So when we put concrete down, we're not coming back with jackhammers if at all possible. The framers, I tell my clients, you know, any questions that you have throughout the project, the point of contact is going to be me, my father, or any other project manager on the project. That's your point of contact. And if they have questions or concerns, they're going to come ask with me and verify. And they're going to verify every question that's asked with the homeowner back to me to make sure, because at the end of the day, I want to know if one of my project managers goes on vacation. I want to know what is actually happening while I'm not there. So we have a project management software called Builder Trend, and we actually update with daily logs on there. And that's how we communicate via client to contractor. We do text messages, emails, all of the new social type of text messaging we can do. We utilize all of our technology nowadays. So who will be doing the work is a great one, because you want to know if it's subcontractors. You want to make sure that if there's a sub coming to your project working, that they're also insured. Just because the GC is insured, he needs to be doing his diligence and making sure that his subs are insured as well. And so you want to get that written down with making sure who's going to be out there, who's the sub, and are they covered. That's a big one. Also, the point of contact, making sure that that's all established in the beginning. I let clients know I'll be your point of contact if I'm going to be the one on your project, or if they have a project manager, they need to communicate with them and at the same time come and communicate with me. Or if they don't want, they can just keep it all in a daily log or emails in our project management software. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah,
I can't
excellent.
hear you, but hopefully you can hear me.
Yeah, and so it's those iPods, the charge goes down. You could probably disconnect it and use the speaker. So anyway, Cory, thank you very much. Thank you for everything. I'm Tony Babarino. I'm an Orange County real estate agent. My office is in Irvine with Remax Premier Realty. Let me know if you guys need anything. Cory's information, if you need it, is right down below. The website is here. And just give him a call if you need him. And there we go. So Cory, thank you very much. You have to use a corded headset. That's the best.
Well, thank you guys too for having
Thank
me.
you.
Thanks for having me on the show, Tony. It's been great as always.
Yep. Thank you very much. And we love getting comments. Thank you for all that. We really appreciate it. I love when people chime in and type and everything. That's fantastic. So thank you for that. And folks, yeah, that's pretty much it for today. This is one specific topic. So thank you for watching. Cory, thank you. Thank you so much. And awesome. We'll see you again. And I'll give you a call later on. We'll set up the next interview, folks. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll see you on the next time, okay? Take care, guys. Bye.